There is $1 billion industry built on keeping you weak, and you are feeding it every day. Every time you buy a book about healing your inner child instead of building your outer success, you feed it. Every time you pay for therapy that teaches you to accept your limitations instead of overcome them, you feed it. Every time you join a support group that celebrates your problems instead of solving them, you feed it. They have convinced you that being broken is beautiful, that trauma defines you, and that your past controls your future. But here is what they do not want you to know. The strongest people in history had the worst childhoods, and they did not overcome their circumstances by talking about them. They overcame them by outgrowing them. Your greatest enemy is not the person who betrayed you. Your greatest enemy is not the boss who overlooked you for that promotion. Your greatest enemy is not even the government that you blame for your circumstances. Your greatest enemy lives in the same house as you, eats the same food as you, sleeps in the same bed as you. Your greatest enemy looks at you in the mirror every single morning. Napoleon Bonaparte conquered most of Europe. He commanded armies of hundreds of thousands. Kings trembled at the mention of his name. But Napoleon was not defeated by the British at Waterloo. Napoleon was not defeated by the Russian winter. Napoleon Bonaparte was defeated by Napoleon Bonaparte. His pride became his prison. His arrogance became his anchor. His ego became his executioner. The man who conquered nations could not conquer himself. Right now, as you sit there listening to me, there is a war raging inside you. It is not a war between nations. It is not a war between races. It is not a war between rich and poor. It is a war between two versions of yourself. There is the strong you and the weak you. There is the disciplined you and the undisciplined you. There is the courageous you and the fearful you. And here is what I want you to understand. Only one of these versions will survive. Only one will get to live your life. Most people think weakness is natural. They think it is normal to be afraid, normal to give up, normal to accept less than they deserve. But I am here to tell you that weakness is not your birthright. Weakness is a choice. Every single day, you choose weakness or you choose strength. You choose courage or you choose fear. You choose to grow or you choose to remain small. I knew a man named Kenji in Tokyo. He was brilliant at his job, but he had one problem. Every time he had to speak in front of more than 3 people, his hands would shake, his voice would crack, and his mind would go blank. For 15 years, he watched less qualified people get promoted while he stayed in the shadows. His weakness was not his lack of ability. His weakness was his acceptance of his fear. One day, Kenji made a decision. He said to himself, I will not let this fear live another day in my life. He did not wait for courage to come. He did not wait to feel ready. He walked into his boss's office and volunteered to present the quarterly report to the board of directors. His hands still shook, his voice still cracked, but he spoke anyway. Today, Kenji is the CEO of that same company. He did not become CEO because his fear disappeared. He became CEO because he killed his acceptance of that fear. You see, weakness is not about what you cannot do. Weakness is about what you refuse to try. Weakness is not about your circumstances. Weakness is about your response to your circumstances. Weakness is not about your past. Weakness is about your decision to let your past control your future. Your weakness has been lying to you. It has been telling you that you are not smart enough, not talented enough, not connected enough, not lucky enough. Your weakness has been showing you all the reasons why you cannot succeed and none of the reasons why you can. Your weakness has been introducing you to people who will agree with your limitations and keeping you away from people who will challenge your potential. But here is what your weakness does not want you to know. Every day that you feed your weakness, it grows stronger. Every day that you listen to your weakness, it speaks louder. Every day that you obey your weakness, it becomes more demanding. Your weakness is like a spoiled child. The more you give it what it wants, the more it wants. When you say, I cannot do public speaking, you are feeding your weakness. When you say, I am not good with money, you are feeding your weakness. When you say, I always fail at relationships, you are feeding your weakness. Every excuse you make, every complaint you voice, Every limitation you accept is food for your weakness. And while you are feeding your weakness, your strength is starving. Your potential is dying. Your future is being sacrificed on the altar of your comfort zone. You are not just failing to become who you could be, you are actively choosing to remain who you have always been. The cost of weakness is not just what you lose. The cost of weakness is who you never become. The cost of weakness is not just the opportunities you miss. The cost of weakness is the person those opportunities were meant to create. Every time you surrender to your weakness, you rob the world of the strong version of yourself. But today, right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can continue to feed your weakness, or you can choose to starve it. You can continue to listen to the weak voice in your head, or you can choose to silence it. You can continue to live as a prisoner of your own limitations, or you can choose to break free. The war for your life is being fought right now. The question is not whether you will face this battle. The question is whether you will win it. Now that you understand, you are at war with yourself. You need to understand your enemy. You need to know how weakness was born in your life, how it operates, and why it has been winning the battle for your potential. Because you cannot defeat an enemy you do not understand. Weakness was not born in you. You were not created weak. When you came into this world, you did not know the word impossible. As a baby, you fell down 1,000 times learning to walk, and you got up 1,001 times. You did not sit there after your 10th fall and say, walking is not for me, I guess I'm just meant to crawl. No, you kept trying until you walked. But somewhere along the way, someone taught you to accept defeat. Maybe it was a parent who said, stop dreaming and be realistic. Maybe it was a teacher who told you that you were not smart enough for advanced classes. Maybe it was a friend who laughed at your big goals. Maybe it was a boss who said you did not have leadership potential. One by one, these voices became the voices in your head. Their limitations became your limitation. Their fears became your fears. Society is very good at teaching people their place. It tells the poor man that rich people are greedy. It tells the uneducated person that educated people are snobs. It tells the unsuccessful person that successful people are lucky. Society does not want you to rise above your current level, because when you do, you make everyone else uncomfortable. Your success becomes a mirror that shows them their own excuses. But here is what they do not tell you. There is a difference between humility and weakness. Humility says, I do not know everything, so I will keep learning. Weakness says, I cannot learn this, so I will stop trying. Humility says, I am not perfect, so I will keep improving. Weakness says, I am not good enough, so why bother? Humility opens doors, weakness closes them. Every failure you have experienced has given you a choice. You could use that failure as a stepping stone or as a gravestone. You could use it as education or as an excuse. Most people choose the excuse. They say, I tried starting a business once and it failed, so I am not cut out for business, they say. I tried losing weight once and gained it all back, so I guess I am just meant to be overweight. They take one failure and turn it into a lifetime sentence. Your weakness operates on 3 levels, and it is very smart. It attacks your mind, your emotions, and your body at the same time. In your mind, it plants thoughts like, you are not good enough. This is too hard for you. And people like you do not succeed at things like this. These thoughts play like a broken record in your head until you believe them in your emotions. Weakness makes you feel afraid of success, angry at successful people, and sorry for yourself. It convinces you that you are a victim of circumstances beyond your control. It makes you comfortable with complaining instead of changing, with wishing instead of working in your body. Weakness shows up as lack of discipline. You know what you should do, but you do not do it. You should exercise, but you sit on the couch. You should eat healthy food, but you reach for junk. You should wake up early, but you hit the snooze button. Your body becomes the battlefield where weakness wins the war. But here is the dangerous part. These three types of weakness work together. When your mind tells you that you cannot succeed, your emotions feel defeated, and your body stops taking action. When your body lacks discipline, your mind creates excuses, and your emotions feel justified in giving up. It is a cycle that keeps you trapped. Weakness is also very social. Weak people attract other weak people. If you are always complaining, you will find other complainers to complain with. If you are always making excuses, you will find other excuse makers to agree with your excuses. If you are always playing victim, you will find other victims to have pity parties with. Your environment becomes an echo chamber where your weakness gets reinforced every day. Your weak friends tell you that your dreams are unrealistic. Your weak family members tell you to settle for less. Your weak co-workers tell you that the boss is unfair. Everyone around you agrees that success is for other people, not for people like you. This is why weak people hate it when someone in their circle decides to get strong, when you start working out. They say you are obsessed with fitness when you start reading books. They say you think you are better than them when you start a business. They remind you of everyone who failed. They do this not because they hate you, but because your strength exposes their weakness. But once you understand how weakness operates, you can begin to defeat it. Once you see the game it is playing, you can stop playing by its rules. Once you recognize the voices of weakness in your head, you can choose to stop listening to them. The anatomy of your weakness is complex, but the solution is simple. You must declare war on every weak thought, every weak emotion, and every weak action in your life. You must stop feeding weakness and start starving it. You must stop surrounding yourself with weak people and start finding strong ones. Because the person you become depends entirely on which voice you choose to obey. The voice of your weakness or the voice of your strength. The first step in killing your weakness is the hardest step. You must look at yourself in the mirror and tell the truth. Not the comfortable truth, not the socially acceptable truth, the brutal, uncomfortable, naked truth about who you really are and what you have been allowing to control your life. Most people live their entire lives lying to themselves about their weaknesses. They call fear being cautious. They call laziness taking it easy. They call giving up being realistic. They call jealousy being aware of inequality. But until you can call your weakness by its real name, you cannot kill it. Standing in that mirror, you must ask yourself the hardest questions. What dreams have you abandoned because you were afraid? What opportunities have you missed because you felt unworthy? What relationships have you ruined because you could not control your emotions? What potential have you wasted because you chose comfort over growth? This is not about beating yourself up. This is about waking yourself up. Because a person who cannot face their weakness will never overcome their weakness. I want to tell you about a woman named Tomoko. For 12 years, she lived with a man who told her she was worthless. He controlled her money, isolated her from her friends, and convinced her that she could never survive without him. She believed him. She had 3 children and no job skills. She had no education and no confidence. When people asked why she stayed, she said, "Where would I go? What would I do? This is just my life." But one night, after he hit her in front of her children, something inside Tomoko broke. Not broke like weakness breaks, broke like a dam breaks. All the strength she had been holding back came flooding out. She looked at her children's faces and made a decision that changed everything. She said to herself, "I will not let my children grow up thinking this is what love looks like." The next morning, while he was at work, Tomoko packed everything she could carry and left with her children. She had $47 in her pocket and no plan beyond getting away. But she had made a choice. She chose to be afraid and take action instead of being afraid and staying trapped for the first 6 months. They lived in a shelter. Tomoko got a job cleaning offices at night while her children slept. She worked from midnight to 6 in the morning, then came home to get her kids ready for school during the day. While they were in school, she studied online to get her high school diploma. She was exhausted every single day. But she was no longer weak. After 1 year, she had saved enough money to rent a small apartment. After 2 years, she had finished her diploma and started taking college classes. After 5 years, she had graduated with a degree in business administration. Today, Tomoko owns a cleaning company with 47 employees. The same woman who once believed she was worthless now provides jobs for other people. But here is the most important part of Tomoko's story. She did not become strong when her circumstances changed. She became strong while her circumstances were still terrible. She killed her weakness while she was still living in that shelter. She chose strength while she was still afraid, still tired, still uncertain about the future. Tomoko understood something that most people never understand. Killing weakness is not a one-time event. It is a daily decision. Every single day, she had to choose between the voice that said, "Go back to him. This is too hard," and the voice that said, "Keep fighting. You are stronger than you think." Every single day, she chose the voice of strength. This is your daily war. Every morning when you wake up, weakness will present you with options. It will suggest that you sleep instead of exercising. It will recommend that you eat junk food instead of healthy food. It will propose that you watch television instead of reading a book. It will advise you to complain about your problems instead of working on solutions. And every morning, you must choose. You must choose strength over comfort. You must choose growth over stagnation. You must choose action over excuses. These choices seem small, but they are not small. These small daily choices are what build the strong version of yourself. You cannot kill weakness with one grand gesture. You cannot defeat it with one moment of inspiration. You kill weakness with one choice at a time, one day at a time, one victory at a time. You kill it by creating systems in your life that make strength easier and weakness harder. If you broke your self-agent, there is only one nightmare to beat down your... When Tomoko was building her strength, she created simple rules for herself. She would not complain about her circumstances to anyone for more than 5 minutes. She would not make any major decisions when she was emotional. She would not compare her beginning to someone else's middle. These simple rules became the foundation of her strength. You need your own rules. You need your own systems. You need your own daily practices that feed your strength and starve your weakness. Maybe it is reading for 30 minutes every morning. Maybe it is exercising 4 times a week. Maybe it is saying no to activities that drain your energy and yes to activities that build your potential. The battle for dominance in your life is not one in the future. It is one today. It is one in the next choice you make, the next word you speak, the next action you take right now as you sit there listening to me. You are either choosing strength or choosing weakness. You are either moving toward the person you want to become or away from that person. The war is happening now. The question is not whether you will fight. The question is whether you will win. When you consistently choose strength over weakness, something extraordinary begins to happen inside you. It does not happen overnight. It does not happen with fanfare or applause, but it happens day by day, choice by choice, victory by victory. You begin to transform into someone you have never been before, the strong version of yourself. At first, the changes are small. You notice that negative thoughts do not stick in your mind as long as they used to. You notice that other people's opinions do not affect your decisions as much as they once did. You notice that challenges that used to terrify you now just look like problems to be solved. These small changes are the early signs that weakness is losing its grip on your life, but strength builds upon itself in ways that weakness never could. When you choose to exercise instead of staying in bed, you build physical strength. When you choose to read instead of watching mindless television, you build mental strength. When you choose to save money instead of spending impulsively, you build financial strength. Each strong choice makes the next strong choice easier to make. This is what I call the compound effect of strength. Just like money grows faster when you reinvest the interest, your strength grows faster when you build upon each victory. The person who exercises consistently does not just get physically stronger, they become mentally tougher, emotionally more stable, and spiritually more disciplined. One area of strength bleeds into every other area of life. I want to tell you about Victor. 5 years ago, Victor was living under a bridge in downtown Detroit. He had lost his job, his apartment, his family, and his hope to a cocaine addiction that had controlled his life for 8 years. He would steal to buy drugs, lie to get money, and sleep wherever he could find shelter. People crossed the street to avoid him. Police knew him by name. Victor had become everything he once swore he would never become. But on a cold December morning, sitting in that same spot under the bridge, Victor made a decision that changed his entire life. He did not decide to get clean. He did not decide to turn his life around. He made a smaller decision. He decided that for the next 24 hours, that first day was the hardest day of Victor's life. His body screamed for drugs. His mind created 1,000 reasons why he should give up. But for 24 hours, Victor chose strength over weakness. The next morning, he made the same decision, just 24 more hours. Then another day, then another. After 30 days of choosing strength, one day at a time, Victor walked into a homeless shelter and asked for help. After 60 days, he enrolled in a drug rehabilitation program. After 100 days, he got a job washing dishes at a restaurant. Each day, he continued to choose strength over the weakness that had once destroyed his life. But Victor did not stop at getting clean. Once he tasted what strength felt like, he wanted more of it. He started reading books about business during his breaks at the restaurant. He started saving every dollar he could. He started dreaming again about the life he wanted to create after 2 years of consistent, strong choices. Victor had saved enough money to start a small cleaning business. He bought used equipment and began cleaning offices and restaurants at night. After 3 years, he hired his first employee. After 4 years, he had 15 people working for him today. Today, Victor owns the largest commercial cleaning company in Detroit. He employs over 200 people, many of whom are former addicts like himself. But here is what makes Victor's story truly remarkable. He did not wait until his circumstances improved to start living like a strong person. He started living like a strong person while he was still homeless. He started thinking like a successful businessman while he was still washing dishes. He started believing in his potential while others still saw him as a failure. Victor understood something that most people never learn. Your external circumstances do not create your internal strength. Your internal strength creates your external circumstances. When you become strong on the inside, your outside world has no choice but to change. This is what happens when you kill the weakness inside you. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the creator of your circumstances. You stop reacting to life and start responding to life. You stop letting life happen to you and start making life happen for you. Strong people live differently than weak people. When strong people face problems, they ask, how can I solve this? Instead of, why is this happening to me? When strong people see successful people, they ask, what can I learn from them? Instead of, why do they have what I want? When strong people fail, they ask, what did I learn? Instead of, why do I always mess up? Strong people also impact everyone around them. When you become strong, you give other people permission to become strong. When you stop making excuses, the people around you stop accepting their own excuses. When you start pursuing your dreams, you inspire others to pursue theirs. Strength is contagious, just like weakness was contagious. Your family will change when you change. Your friends will change when you change. Your workplace will change when you change. Or you will find new family, new friends, and new work that matches the strong person you have become. The universe responds to strength in ways it never responds to weakness. But living as the strong version of yourself requires constant vigilance. Weakness never completely dies, it just goes into hiding, waiting for a moment when you are tired, stressed, or discouraged to make its comeback attempt. Strong people know this, so they never stop feeding their strength and never stop starving their weakness. The legacy of a life lived in strength is immeasurable. When you choose strength over weakness, you do not just change your own life, you change your children's lives, your grandchildren's lives, and the lives of people you will never meet. You become part of the solution instead of part of the problem. You become a source of hope instead of a source of excuses right now, at this very moment. You are standing at the most important crossroads of your life. Down one path is the same life you have always lived, controlled by the same weaknesses, limited by the same fears, trapped by the same excuses. Down the other path is the life you were meant to live, a life of strength, purpose, and unlimited potential. The choice is yours. The moment is now. The power is within you. Kill the weakness inside you and watch the strong person you were always meant to be come to life. Your future self is waiting. Do not keep them waiting any longer.